The last time we spoke, it seemed like the sky was falling. Anthony Volpe was the biggest pariah in New York. The Yankees were close to not even having a playoff spot to claim as theirs. What a difference a week makes, as after a week playing a bunch of bad teams, after going 7-1 in our last 8 games, the Yankees have cut the Toronto lead down to 2.5, have leapfrogged the Boston Red Sox in winning percentage, and now going into one of the most crucial stretches of the season could become viable World Series contenders. What's going on, guys? King Von 61st Gen. I'm back to another video, and I want to start off by talking about a narrative that has been going around online, because to me, I understand it, but it still makes zero sense to me. A lot of people watching the past week of baseball from the Yankees brought up a valid point. We were playing the young, exciting, possibly a great future, but very beatable in the moment Washington Nationals team, and a mediocre, non-competitive, maybe competitive in a little bit Chicago White Sox, that these wins automatically do not matter. My response to that would be, every single game matters. Every single game counts the same. Just look at the Boston Red Sox as an example. They were playing the Pittsburgh Pirates on the road. I don't think another team has a worse winning percentage than the Pittsburgh Pirates on the road. The Boston Red Sox lost a start where Garrett Crochet was pitching against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That is bad. And look at where they would be if they won that game. Losing 2 out of 3 against Pittsburgh is not a good look. The Yankees were able to handle business. And I want to take you back to July and August, back when the sky was falling. What was one of the reasons why we were all scared for this Yankees team? Well, who did we play right out of the deadline? The Miami Marlins. We got swept by a pesky but very young and very beatable Miami Marlins team. Where would the Yankees be if they won that series? They would be a game and a half back of the division. This is what I'm talking about. So I don't want to hear about the Yankees schedule. These are all trap games that the Yankees were made to stumble and made to lose. And the Yankees took advantage as much as they could. Yes, they lost that last game. It's hard to win every single game. You want to win the majority of the games against teams under 500. And that's what the Yankees did during this stretch. They were able to do exactly what they were supposed to do against a Nationals team that has literally zero pitching now that Mackenzie Gore has fallen off, and the Yankees mashed against him. They were able to virtually stat pad when it came to the Nationals. And then against the White Sox, it's a 4-game set. Usually 4-game sets get a little bit weird, but the Yankees were able to persevere. They also at times stat padded, but even when the games got tight, they won the game, except for the last one. 7 of 8 games to get them right back to this spot. So let's talk about the next 2 weeks of baseball. Starting tonight, the Yankees have 4 straight series against teams that are either ahead of them or are in playoff contention. 3 against Houston, 3 at home against Toronto, 3 at home against Detroit, and 3 on the road against Boston. This is the last stretch of good teams that the Yankees have to play. So this right here is a make or break stretch. Now, does the last 8 games tell you anything about how these next couple weeks are going to go? No. But if the Yankees didn't have that weak stretch of going 7-1 in their last 8, there would be zero opportunity for this stretch of games to matter as much as it does right now. The Yankees have an opportunity with this series against Houston. If they can win this series and Toronto loses their next series, now the Yankees are set up to win a series against Toronto and take back the East. They're set up to go and face Detroit and show them that we are one of the best teams in the American League, and then go to Boston and right wrongs that were made before this stretch. This stretch was made to be important based off of how well the Yankees have played against those bottom feeding teams. So there is where the use of having that weaker part of the schedule comes into play. The Yankees would not be in a position to thrive if it wasn't for that stretch. And not just for that stretch, but for succeeding in that stretch. You had Toronto, who, yes, had to go up against Milwaukee, lost that series, but they still lost pivotal games against bad teams. Another team that lost to Pittsburgh. These games matter and count the same as these big wins. So I don't want to hear about how this magical Yankees get a break in order to get back in the division. I don't want to hear any of that. I don't want to hear Yankees fans talk about how this stretch doesn't matter. Now, what I will tell you is, maybe if we're talking about player performances, individual success, then we could take it with a grain of salt, because you are going up against some of the bottom feeding teams. So maybe this Volpe stretch that he went on, maybe this is an anomaly. Maybe we won't score 10 runs in our last 5 games. But in terms of what it means for the team, these games in some ways mean exactly the same thing as these big series. Because let's talk about it. The only reason why these series in the next 4 that we have matter to everyone else is because magically in your head you believe that there's a storyline that can be made based off the results of this series, not taking into account that things change come October. There's a reason why there's no one believing that the Milwaukee Brewers are going to win the NL. It's because when October comes, there's a certain it factor that comes into play. And Milwaukee has never been able to get over that hump, no matter how good they've been. So magically, people seem to think, oh, if we have a losing record with this Houston, Toronto, Detroit, Boston stretch, all of a sudden, that means the Yankees are no longer contending for a World Series. No longer can the Yankees win because they lost regular season games in September. These games don't really matter in that way. When October comes, the lights get bright. It's all about who can perform there, not who can perform on September 2nd through September 14th. You don't win a World Series from September 2nd to September 14th. Now, talking about these series, because these series to me are huge if we're going to make those assumptions. I'll bite on those assumptions you guys want to make. These series are huge in that respect. So what are the keys that the Yankees had to win 7 of 8? Again, offensive firepower was huge. Jazz being only the 6th Yankee to get a 25-25 season. He could be on his way to having a 30-30 season if he has a pretty good month. Anthony Volpe sort of showed signs of life against Chicago. I'm not believing it until I see it. I still was there when the Yankees beat up on the Nationals in that 10-run inning. And what I can tell you is that Anthony Volpe struck out against a position player in the same way he strikes out against everyone else, because he flies open his hip, tried to get to a pitch that was outside, and it ended up being in the other batter's box. I'm not believing in the Anthony Volpe is back until I see it anymore. Anthony Volpe has run out of chances for me. Another key to this stretch has been Aaron Judge basically putting a stamp on this MVP race during the Chicago series, hitting a couple home runs, having a good series, looking generally healthy. The fact that this is even an MVP race is because of the injury. If Judge never got injured and he looked semi-healthy, Judge would be a -500 favorite on BetMGM. But the fact that when he came back, things were a little shaky. He was underneath everything. He just wasn't performing to his level. Everyone started looking at Cal Raleigh and saying, well, he is a catcher. He does have 50 home runs and he plays pretty good defense. Aaron Judge is on his way back to getting a 200 WRC plus, meaning he is double the average player in Major League Baseball. Double the average player. Not just a whole lot better. He is double. That means something. He is the value of 2 average players. It's virtually unheard of. And Aaron Judge has already done it once last year, and he could do it again this year. Aaron Judge is your MVP. And I want to give Cal Raleigh his credit, because this has been a great year. He is one of the best catchers in Major League Baseball. He has had one of the best catching seasons in Major League Baseball. But this is Aaron Judge's award. Plain and simple. But a key to winning these games is Aaron Judge continuing to be locked in, Jazz continuing to go on this reign of terror that he has over the past couple weeks, and most importantly, is getting quality starts from the starters. Max Fried goes tonight. We need a big game. We're going up against Fromber. Then we got Will Warren, going up against Alexander of Houston. This is a game he has to outduel Alexander. Then Carlos Rodon against Christian Javier. This is a game I'm nervous for because Christian Javier has given the Yankees fits over the past few years, no hitting us at one point. That's a tough game. So if Carlos Rodon wants to make a stamp on this season and prove he's officially back, outdueling Christian Javier is huge. And one of the main issues the Yankees have had whenever they've struggled is starting pitching success. So we get good starts out of our starters and everything else seems to fall in place. I just wanted to make a video. Haven't recorded in over a week. I'm sorry, guys. Wanted to make a video, kind of explain why I think the argument of playing bad teams and winning those games is meaningless, is pointless in my eyes. But what do you think? Do you think the Yankees are going to succeed over these next 12 games? Do you think winning 7 of 8 was important for this team? Let me know down below. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. I'm out of here. Take care and peace.